Hi, and welcome back to the farmhouse. The days are getting colder, the leaves are changing, and the garden is definitely fading, which is a true sign that fall is here and it is time to get our garden ready for next year. Today I'm going to share with you everything that we do to put our garden to bed so that it is in tip-top shape for our next growing season. Hi, I'm Deanne from Hummingbird Acres, and this is the place where we like to empower you to live the farmhouse and homestead lifestyle and share a little bit of our everyday lives along the way. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified anytime that I upload a new video about homesteading, gardening, and farmhouse life. I'm so glad that you guys are here today, and I can't wait to show you everything that we do to get our garden ready for our next growing season. Fall is definitely bittersweet for me. I hate putting the summer garden to bed, but I absolutely love planting next year's garden. So before we start ripping up and tearing up the things in our garden to get it ready for next year, we always make sure that we take a walk through the garden with our garden journal, and I absolutely love our garden journal. It is a digital garden journal, so I only print the pages that I need. I print them out, hole punch them, and put them in my daily planner. I carry that journal with me anytime I am just kind of walking in the garden and want to take some notes. So before we start ripping anything up, I'm going to grab my journal and I'm going to walk through the garden, make any final notes about the season. I mark down where things are planted. I mark down things that grew really well, maybe write down things that didn't grow so well, and just document everything. By documenting it, next year's garden will be so much easier to plan. I love our garden journal so much. I want to know what you guys use to document your garden and everything that you're growing. Do you use a garden journal? If so, what do you love about it, and maybe what do you don't like about it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking to add to our garden journal. And if you want to check out our garden journal, be sure to check out the comments below. I've linked it for you guys to check out. I have all of my helpers here, and the first thing we're going to do is we are going to pull out all of the weeds in the garden. All of the weeds are going to go in the trash, because when you compost them, the compost doesn't normally get hot enough to kill the weeds. And we don't want weeds in our garden next year. Please put your hand down. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to cut out all of the old plants. Any plants that are diseased are going to go in the trash, and any plants that are still somewhat healthy are going to go in the compost bin to make more rich soil for next year. So, are you guys ready to help me rip out the plants?
Yes!
All right, let's go.
Let's go!
So I didn't get all of them pulled up yet, but I am gonna move on because I'm gonna leave the pepper plants and the tomato plants for Jamie to do. But the next thing on my checklist for getting the garden ready for winter is I need to prune back all of our perennials. We have a lot of black-eyed Susans and purple coneflowers, so I'm going to go trim them back. None of them have disease, so they are going to also go in the compost bin. And then I also have our hydrangeas to trim and a couple of other perennials around the yard. So next up on my checklist is the perennials. Something else that I love to do in the fall is I like to plant our spring bulbs. So this year I planted about 30 more daffodil bulbs. I planted 10 tulips and 10 irises. I did do a video all about planting those, and I will link it in the description. This is what it looks like. I'll link it in the description for you if you're interested in planting some spring bulbs. Spring bulbs get planted in the fall. They need a cold period before they can grow. So you plant them now, you wait, and they are one of the first things that bloom in the spring. So now add it to your checklist. Plant some spring bulbs so that you have some flowers early next year. One of the most important things that you can do for your garden in the fall is to add any amendments and organic matter that your soil might need. And the best way to determine what your soil needs is to get your soil tested. On our website, I have tons of articles about getting your soil tested and some reliable places to turn to when you're looking for some more information. So if you are looking to get your soil tested, which I highly recommend you doing, it's linked below for you. So we are going to get our soil tested to figure out exactly what amendments we need to add to the soil. But to start with, we are going to add some composted topsoil, probably about 1 to 2 inches on top of our beds. These beds are fairly new this year, so they compacted a lot. So they do need some good topsoil to bring it back up to level. So another thing on your fall gardening checklist to make sure your garden is ready for the spring is to make sure that you get your soil tested and add any amendments that it might need. And again, if you are looking for how to test your soil and some resources on how to test your soil, I have it linked below for you. The very last thing to do to prep the garden for winter is to just do some tidying up. So we are going to go around and wind up all of the hoses, drain them so that they don't freeze and break. We're gonna put away any seed starting trays, make sure that they're washed and ready to go for the spring. We're just gonna tidy up and make everything look kind of nice, put everything away and make it organized. That way come spring, when we are ready to hit the ground running with the garden, everything is in one place, it is organized, and it's easy to find. Also, doing this allows me to take an inventory on some things that we need for next year. I know that we need some fertilizer. We kind of ran low this year, so I'm going to make sure that I order that now so that we have it. We also want to inventory all of our seeds to make sure that we have exactly what we want to plant next year, and just anything else that we might be missing. And also, Christmas is a great time to ask for some of those gardening tools that you might have seen, say, on Instagram or on another YouTube video that you really want to try. So make your list, make it public so that people can find it, and you never know, maybe you'll get some fun gardening stuff for Christmas. Okay, so I know that you guys have had a long and tiring gardening season, and the very last thing that you want to do is work in your garden anymore. You really want to break. But I promise you, putting your garden to bed the right way and spending a little bit of extra time putting the garden to bed will make a huge difference come spring. You'll be ready to go, you won't be running behind. Your seeds will get in, and your seeds and your seedlings will get in the ground as soon as possible, making it so that you're going to harvest sooner. And isn't that what we want? We want to be able to harvest as soon as possible. So take the extra time and make sure that you put your garden to bed. Let's review some of the things that we do to put our garden to bed. The very first thing that we do is we walk around our garden and make any notes about our garden in our garden planner. You can check out our garden planner below. I have linked it for you guys. After we have gone through and made any notes, last minute notes that we need, we will start pulling out the plants and pulling out all of the weeds. Anything that was healthy throughout the season goes in the compost bin, and anything that had disease goes in the trash. After we have pulled out all of the weeds and we've pulled out all of the plants, the next thing that we're going to do is trim up all of our perennials, make sure that they are trimmed back and ready to go for next year. And we're also going to take some time to plant some of those spring bulbs, daffodils, irises, and tulips, so that we have some spring flowers as soon as the weather gets warm. After that, and one of the most important things that we do for our garden, is that we test our soil. When our test comes back, we make sure that we add any amendments that are recommended, and we also add 1 to 2 inch layer of composted topsoil just to top everything off. That is not always necessary, but our garden beds are fairly new, so they need just a little bit more of topsoil. After that, we make sure that we tidy up everything in our garden and everything around our yard, put the hoses away, clean everything up, organize everything so that we know exactly what we have, we know exactly what we need to order, and everything is ready to go for next year. If you are looking to add some spring bulbs to your garden this year, make sure that you check out this video on how to add daffodils, irises, and tulips to your garden. Fall is a great time of year, and I know you're tired, but don't give up on your garden. Put in a little extra work so that in the spring it is ready to go for you guys. Make sure you check out our free Putting Your Garden to Bed checklist, which I have listed below, and thanks for visiting the farmhouse. We'll see you guys soon.